disclosed that the vehicle was going to be a hearse.
It's a Cadillac!
Let's go.
Let's go.
Oh, did you want to?
Sorry, I'll let you.
Next time.
Early enough in the process where we didn't have hardly any VFX that we could show. We were very early in the process, so we had developed that one big shot of Times Square we originally had a teaser trailer we were going to put out on the front of Star Wars. And it was really great, but it was very we decided to take a tone that was very serious with it, just to throw people off a little bit. And then just at the last minute, we all kind of decided, I don't know, we want to go out with that, and so we pulled it back. But we had, we had developed that one giant shot of Times Square for it. But even at that, I didn't feel it was refined yet. I wanted to keep working on it. There was nervousness at the studio. They do a lot of research and testing of things, and what their testing was finding that people were very confused, like, is it a new movie, is it not, is it a sequel, is it not? And so there was a lot of stuff that I personally felt they put a little too much worry into that, of we have to connect it to the old one somehow. And so that's when they kind of came up with that idea of the 30 years ago, which I was always kind of nervous about, because I'm like, people are gonna think it's a sequel if you do this, and I don't want that out there, because I don't want to misrepresent the movie. But so they went with it, and then they piled in a lot of the jokes, but we didn't have the effects and stuff. I'm not ashamed of that trailer at all. I actually thought I was happy with it, knowing what we had at the moment. And what we did is we did a big screening of it. We had all the ghost heads kind of from all over the country come in, so everybody came in their outfits, the hardcore fans, and we premiered it for them, and they went crazy for it. I mean, they standing ovation, and they're chanting, see it again, see it, so it was we kind of walked out of there going oh good, for a first trailer, we're actually pretty good. And honestly, the first wave of response was amazing. But as I found on the internet, what happens is the first wave is always amazing. And then takes a day, and then the second wave comes in, and that's when it kind of disseminates out to either haters or the skeptical or people who are just mad that we're doing it. And then, quickly I saw the dislike numbers were going up very fast. And it was this thing, and you go look, plenty of people I'm sure didn't like it, and I completely get that. But this seemed disproportionately high and fast going up, and I know that there's a lot of, multiple accounts from same people doing it. It was also because it got embedded into fan sites that were gunning for it anyway, and so it became sport to kind of drive it up. So it was a bummer, you definitely don't want something out there, but if you want to look glass half full, we're also the most liked, if you look at the number of likes compared to other trailers, so you're like, okay, well we'll take that one little victory. But I get it. Look, here's the thing, and being on camera, it's nice I can say this because I do these print interviews, and they always pull one part of my quote out. Mm-hmm. I've said from day one, I get that there is a bunch of people who just are trepidatious, nervous, mad that we are doing a reboot or touching this at all. And I completely get that. Those people, I get it, I hear you. I would be nervous too if I didn't know what I was doing with it. And then was the wave of just people who hated that it was women. And that to me is the non-starter. But that was a part of the group. It wasn't everybody. And everybody on the internet has been painting it like I've been saying, if you don't like it, you're against women. I've never said that ever. They take the quotes, they pull one part of the quote. So I understand, I completely get why people are nervous, and you just go, all I can ask is please just judge the movie on its own merits. Don't judge it off of a trailer. Obviously, I don't fault anybody for judging something off a trailer because that's all they can watch, and a trailer is supposed to be great. My problem with my movies in general is they just don't trailer well. They never have. If you look at all my trailers, because my comedy, going back to our first thing, is behavioral. It's very much about you have to get to know the characters, and then in the context of knowing those characters, that stuff becomes funny. Because what studios will do is they'll, from our test screenings, the biggest jokes that destroy, they'll go, well, let's put all those in. But those jokes destroy because there is a build-up to them.
Yeah, and there's context. And
yeah, you know what it is? I mean, as a comedy filmmaker, here's how I break down what you have with an audience. There are two scenarios. One scenario is you are at a restaurant with all your friends, you are having the time of your life because you're telling stories and you're cracking each other up because Bill told a story about how he yelled at somebody at work, and you're like, oh my God, it's so funny because Bill's the most meek guy in the world, but the fact that he got so mad, that's hilarious, and somebody else is telling a story like that, and you're just going bananas, and you walk away from that evening going like, that was so much fun, I gotta do that again. Scenario number 2, you're sitting next to that table of people, trying to have a quiet dinner, and they're just loud and they're obnoxious, and you're like, and they're telling stories, and you're like, why are they all laughing at that? That's not funny. Like, there's no punchline on that, and it's because you have no investment in those people. And as basically as a comedy director, you have to go, you got to seat the audience at that table, and within a minute, basically, let them know all those people. So then they go, oh my God, that is funny that person's doing. Oh, that's funny. I know that person. They're invested in those people. And what a trailer does, a lot of times, is you're just the guy sitting at the table next to it going like, I don't know, that doesn't seem very funny. It's not an excuse, because there are some trailers that are hilarious. Sometimes you might sit next to a table full of comedians who are just telling the greatest stories in the world that you don't have to know anything about, and you go like, they're funny. So it's just my style of filmmaking is more, you got to know the people to really start laughing with them.